Hi, I'm Abel Thomas, and in the next 6 minutes, I'm going to give you the startling reason why everything you need to gain complete energy independence is sitting in your trash can, your backyard, and even your kitchen cabinets. Show you how you could slash your electricity bill by 80% or more starting today by using an unconventional but highly effective power generating method that people in Vietnam, Korea, and the Philippines have been exploiting for over 200 years to keep their homes lit and their food cooked, even though they live on less than $1.50 per day. Without having to invest in fancy solar panels that cost more than $5,000 to install, or do-it-yourself solar kits that don't actually work, or having to rely on gas-guzzling generators that costs hundreds or even thousands a week to run, and gas isn't going to get magically cheaper. And keeping your family safe during any sort of disaster or crisis, whether it's as minor as a brief blackout or as nightmarish as a total grid collapse. All you have to do is follow the steps I'm about to give you in this brief but crucial video. You'll join over 78,000 thrilled Americans I've already helped, and you'll experience the same heart-racing rush they did when you're tearing open your power bill with childish glee each month, throwing aside the envelope and holding up the latest check that the power company had no choice but to send you because you are feeding excess energy back into the grid. In truth, it's almost an uncomfortable feeling at first. Over the course of several decades, you've been conditioned to send in hundreds of dollars every single month to these energy fat cats. And when suddenly you're ripping open that monthly statement and finding a check printed, signed, and immediately cashable under your name from some faceless energy monopoly, it can feel a little strange. But trust me, any feelings of guilt disappear quickly. The technology you're about to discover is your God-given right, 1,000 times more ethical than the constantly inflated rates that the electricity mafia is trying to force down your throat. In fact, you'll have enough energy to power your entire home using nothing but simple items already found in and around your home right now. I know your curiosity is piqued, and it should be. You've never seen anything like this before, and in 5 minutes from now, you'll be furious about the fact that you ever gave Big Electric a single red cent. So let's get to it. First, though, let me tell you who I am and why I know the secret to getting completely off the grid. Now, as I mentioned before, my name is Abel Thomas, and my friends just call me Abe. I'm a fifth-generation farmer here in Burlington, Iowa. Over the past 3.5 years, I've devoted virtually every free moment of my time, except for when I go to church on Sunday mornings, to helping 78,415 honest, hardworking, and liberty-loving Americans just like you break free from the long tentacles of big electricity and discover how to create your own power through a generator that takes less than 4 hours to build, even if you can't tell the top of a hammer from the bottom, and which can be kept fueled for absolutely $0. Using the same simple method I'm going to reveal to you later in this video, Derek Webb of Canton, Ohio, recently sent me a letter saying, in the first 30 days, my power bill went from $275 per month to $87. That's nearly $200, and it's impossible to overstate how this much savings has made things easier for my family. And Gino Danelli of Staten Island, New York, writes, I live in a crowded neighborhood, and you should have seen how the neighbors stared at me when I opened my first electric bill since using your method. I was literally cacking like the Wicked Witch of the West out there. But I don't care. The joke's on them because that bill was for $3.16. Derek and Gino are just two of the thousands of people who have written me over the last year, telling me how thrilled, elated, and even sometimes flabbergasted they are by the simple truth of how easy it is to make your own power, shutting the door in the face of greedy corporations and keeping their families warm and protected. I'll tell you everything in just a moment. But before I get to that, let me just explain why I am so passionately invested in helping you to get off the grid and keep your home, your family, and your freedom protected from the evil electric mafia. It all started when my 5-year-old son looked me directly in the eyes and said,
Daddy, I don't want to lose our farm.
Now, I've often been accused of having the gift of gab, but when I heard these words and saw his big, brown, innocent eyes staring up at me for once in my life, I didn't know what to say. I didn't want to lose the farm either. It has been a source of food, comfort, and financial security passed down through my family from father to son for 5 whole generations. A throwback to the better, simpler days of America, where a man could grow what he needed, sell the rest for an honest profit, and keep a roof over his family and clothes on his children's back. But things have been changing. Did you know that in 1901, 42% of Americans lived on farms? Today, the number is less than 1%. Companies like Monsanto and Cargill have staked claim to almost all the farmland in the U.S. and either bought out or forced out the families who inhabit them. To kill the American farmer, they move into new areas, operate at a loss of millions of dollars to make their prices irresistible to the community, then threaten to blacklist any buyers or distributors who do business with their enemies. We're sorry, my former friends would all say. You know I would, but I have my own family to look after. If word gets out that I'm buying from you, I'll lose my contract with Monsanto. I can't afford to do that, especially with this drought, especially with the economy the way it is. I'm sorry. With mounting bills, swarming debt, and less money coming in, I made the horrible decision to take out a mortgage on the farm. That kept us afloat a little longer, but we're still having more and more trouble finding buyers for our crops. And with fewer buyers and mounting bills, I fell behind on my mortgage payments again and again until suddenly the bank was calling. Notices were showing up in the mail, and it seemed like I'd exhausted almost all my options. I felt so sick of big business treating me like a meaningless ant, sick of telling my children, no, we can't turn the heat up, or no, I can't give you money for a movie, and sick of feeling helpless or feeling like there was nothing I can do but sit there and expose myself to punch after punch in the gut. Not knowing what to do, I got in my family's 97 Silverado and made the 3.5-hour drive to the farm of one of my family's oldest friends, Hank Bean. Hank's family had been farming in Iowa for just about as long as mine. I figured if there was one person who might have an idea of how I could save my farm, it would probably be him. I had no idea, however, as I drove down the single-lane highway that led to his property, that what I was about to see that day would not only be the key to preserving our farm for our children and their children's children, but that it would also alter the course of my life forever, turning me into a leader, or that I'd soon be teaching all of these other folks just like you how to turn energy into an asset, not a liability, so they could start receiving fresh printed checks every month from the same evil energy empires who were once bleeding them dry while paying their executives $30 million in bonuses as a reward for hurting American families. Hank and I sat down poring over any possible options for saving the farm. It quickly became clear that because of the chokehold Monsanto had on our town and the farming industry in general, increasing my sales wasn't going to be a viable option. What I needed to do, Hank said, was figure out a way to cut my expenses. But how? I was already operating on a bare-bones budget, already had my irrigation on a timer, already getting clothing for my children at Salvation Army, and already keeping our heater at almost criminally low temperatures during the winter, making me sick as I watched my children wrap themselves in blankets and snuggle together for warmth. Which is why when Hank asked about my electric bill, I told him there was no possible way to reduce it. Yes, I was paying over $2,400 per month to keep my farm powered. But I just couldn't set the thermostat any lower or cut off electricity to the barn, where our livestock depended on warmth to survive the negative 15-degree winters we experience in Burlington. So when Hank smiled at me after I explained all of that, about how my power bill was a necessary evil, and told me that my problems were solved, it looked like I'd be able to keep the farm after all, passing it on to my children, setting our heater to as high as we wanted, and actually getting paid money every month in the process. I thought he'd lost his mind. But as I followed him outside, around the house, and back behind his barn, what I saw made me realize that he was right. Hank showed me something that changed my life forever. Behind Hank's barn, he had a weird-looking structure, a large tan dome that looked like a mud hut the ancient Indians lived in, although it was only a few feet off the ground. But inside this strange little shelter was enough energy to power his entire 27.5-acre farm. It was easily convertible to electricity. It could be used to power gas motors, and it cost him literally $0 to keep it running. "What's this?" I asked Hank. He smiled again. "It's a biogas generator." So let me explain exactly what a biogas generator is, how it works. A biogas generator takes organic matter like grass, leaves, leftover scraps from dinner, and even animal waste, breaks it down through a process called anaerobic digestion, and converts them into energy-dense gas, which can be used to power a vehicle, a stove, a grill, a water heater, whatever, and it's easily convertible into electricity. I'll explain how in a second. Hank had built his own biogas generator out on his property and was now using it to power his entire farm, keeping his thermostat set to 77 degrees during the winter, running heavy farming equipment, and keeping his barn warm too. Have you ever been sick with worry about something, where you're filled with anxiety and dread, and how you feel like you want to choke and vomit all at the same time? Then you probably know how whenever the situation you've been worrying about turns out okay, you feel this powerful wave of relief just overtake your entire body. Your heartbeat returns to normal. Your hands stop sweating. You feel like you're finally yourself again. That's the exact experience I had as Hank showed me how his biogas generator had worked. And as I drove back home to my family, the blueprints resting on the passenger seat, I started to cry. Not from terror, not from shame, not from a feeling of failure, but from total and utter relief. The next morning at dawn, I set to work building my own biogas generator. I used our farm equipment to dig out a shallow hole in my backyard, and even had my kids help me. That took us a few days because I was going for something big. I'll later tell you how to build a compact version, powerful enough to power your entire home in only a few square feet of space. We scavenged around town and found the pieces we didn't already have, although a lot of items we needed were already in the junk pile we keep. 30 days later, my power bill had gone from $2,413.16 to $822.92. 60 days later, the bill was $407.05. My wife called it a miracle. We were not only paying our mortgage, but even had money left over to buy all the kids back-to-school clothing. I love seeing the smiles on my children's faces as they squealed at their new jeans, flannels, and dresses. And it felt so good when my 5-year-old son hugged me, overwhelming gratitude in his eyes, and told me that he wanted to be just like me when he grew up. I was powering my farm equipment, even my tractors, using free gas instead of gasoline that costs $3.63 a gallon at the pump. And then 3 months after first building my biogas generator, I had the icing on the cake. I'll always remember that day. It was August 31st, 2008. I just received the newest power bill and opened it as I sat at our kitchen table. Inside, there it was, a check for $108.93. It was one of the best feelings in the world. Not only had I reduced my bill by over $2,500, I was actually getting paid while I did it. It was at that moment that I knew I had to share this biogas generator with other people, that other Americans like you deserve to have this feeling of being completely free from the bloody fangs of big electric and having a grid-free power supply that didn't depend on the weather or expensive oil from terrorist regimes. Plus, I don't know about you, but between the inflation of our food prices, the declining value of the dollar, and a government that's racking up trillions in debt trying to create a socialist welfare state, it seems to me like every single American better have a backup plan. A collapse is coming, and soon. And when there's no gasoline or electricity to depend on, families will starve, freeze, and become prisoners in their own homes. So I knew that it was vital that I shared this information with you. But there were 3 problems. First, Hank's biogas generator was expensive to build. It cost me over $1,500. In the long run, since I saved over $2,200 in the first month, it was worth it. But I realize that these are tough times we live in. The cost of everything is shooting upwards faster than a rocket. So I knew I had to get the costs down dramatically. Second, the generator in Hank's blueprint was too big. 20 meters isn't a big deal on a farm, but what if you live in an urban area with a backyard that's only 5 meters across? I had a moral obligation to help everyone, not just farmers, to gain total energy independence and safety. Third, Hank's generator wasn't simple enough that anyone could build it. even the elderly or a young child. So I had to make the design really simple, and it had to be 100% safe for everyone to use. When I realized these problems, I actually looked at some alternative options. I thought maybe there was another way for folks to reduce their power bills dramatically. I researched solar panels, but getting them installed costs more than $5,000, and DIY kits cost $600 while producing a few kilowatts of energy. Plus, solar is dependent upon the weather, which means during a winter storm or a stretch of rain, when your family needs warmth and electricity the most, you might be left in the dark. Not to mention that if the SHTF, the you-know-what, hits the fan, and there is anarchy and chaos in the streets, a solar panel is basically a giant advertisement to looters, bandits, and thieves. You're practically putting a massive billboard over your roof saying, "We have energy. We're cooking food, and our house is still warm. Come on in." I looked at gasoline generators too, but there were way too many downsides. First, a good one is going to run you around $1,000. Second, they depend on gas. Duh, which means you're paying an arm and a leg to run them. And third, if things get really, really bad, there's not going to be any gas at the pumps anyway. Then I looked at propane, but it has the same downside. Like gasoline, the average propane generator puts out 1,000 watts of energy, which is maybe enough to keep the lights on for a few hours. A massive generator that puts out 5,000 watts and costs $2,200 will only run for about 8 hours tops. And just like gasoline, you may not have access to it in the event of a major collapse. Realizing that a biogas generator was the only affordable and permanent way to ensure your family's total energy independence, I set to building a model that took up barely any space, was easily assembled, and that could still create massive energy outputs. I had to relearn pretty much every single thing I'd been taught in my classes while studying agricultural engineering in college. Thank God I had that training because I already knew the basics of designing and building machinery. I scoured books, articles, and the internet for every resource I could possibly find on biogas generators. Some of the stuff was pretty surprising. Countries like Vietnam, Korea, and the Philippines have been using the same technology for centuries to heat their homes and cook their meals. Not only that, but because they had traditionally been really poor countries, they had to figure out ways to generate electricity for pennies on the dollar. And after a year of obsessive research, studying, designing, and making prototypes, I finally created a biogas generator so elegantly simple, every American could easily put one in their home. I named it the Liberty Generator. It takes less than 4 hours to build, even if you have no construction experience and struggle to assemble a 5-piece desk from Walmart. The design was made to be simple, so that even children or the elderly would have no problem putting it together. Total construction cost is less than $300. Any pieces you do need to purchase can be found by driving down the street to your local hardware store. It's entirely scalable. You can generate substantial power even if your backyard is only 7 feet wide. If you have a larger property, you can easily expand it to create even more power and increase the amount of income you receive from the power company each month. It's leak-proof and mess-proof. I poured through thousands of blueprints and made constant improvements to them until I was 100% positive that this is a 100% safe and clean power source. It's also weatherproof. You keep your generator outside, but the unique design keeps it protected from rain, snow, sleet, storms, and other elements. Liberty Generator runs on natural matter. You don't need to purchase any sort of fuel source or pray for sunlight to keep your entire property powered. Simply add grass, leaves, wood, food scraps, fruit, and vegetable peels, or even your pet's waste. If it's bio, it's convertible. Plus, it's discreet. There's no smell because of the special design, and while solar panels are a glaring bullseye on your home when SHTF and noisy gas motors scream for nosy neighbors, sinister looters, and desperate criminals to come check out your home, GPG simply sits in a mound a few feet off the ground. No one sees it, hears it, or smells it, and your family stays safe. The energy you produce can be converted into electricity immediately. You don't need to have a science degree to make this happen. All you need is one piece of equipment that can be purchased for less than $8 at a store like Dollar General. And it can even be added on to your existing generator, providing a crucial backup in case it fails. You already know that failing to plan is planning to fail. But Liberty Generator gives you the certainty of knowing you'll always have a ready-to-go, high-yield power generator in your home, something so simple it can run off tree bark. But most important of all, you will have enough energy to run your entire home. You can reduce your power bill by 80% or more in your very first month using this technology. You won't have to scream at your children to turn off lights when they leave a room, or shiver in the winter as your thermostat stays set at a frigid 65 degrees. That's exactly what happened to Greg Adler from Tucson, Arizona, who writes, "I am still in shock at how well this works. I live in the hot, stinky desert, which is not exactly a Garden of Eden. I run this thing off cactus, prairie grass, and dinner leftovers. Not only am I able to blast cold air in my home for the 7 scorchingly hot months we experience every year, but I'm getting paid $27.30 each month to do it." And Alan Belding of Bozeman, Montana, who says, 5 years ago, I would have called you crazy if you said the first day of the month would be one of my favorites. Now I look forward to it like a kid on Christmas. I live in an apartment, so I just use leftovers from my meals, nothing else. At the start of every month, I get a check for $117, sometimes more. Regards of Big Electric. I use the money to take my wife and daughter out to a steak dinner. It's quickly becoming one of our favorite family traditions. Soon I was sharing my blueprints with friends and family. I wanted to help liberate them from the tyranny of energy companies like General Electric, which is the parent company of almost every electric company in the U.S., making over $124 billion each year, the vast majority of it from preying on honest, hard-working Americans. But I also wanted to make dead sure that this was something anyone could build, no matter what their skill level or ability. And as the results kept pouring in and I kept hearing over and over again that this worked, that it had been built in a few hours. From people like my cousin Ronald, a city boy who lives about 10 minutes outside of downtown Boston, that he had built his generator and started powering his entire home in under 3 hours. I finally knew it was time to share my designs with you and other liberty-loving patriots who are tired of feeling enslaved to powerful and sinister criminal interests. So today I'm making the Liberty Generator available to you. The Liberty Generator is a comprehensive system giving you everything you need to cut your power bill by 75, 90%, or more in a matter of days. You'll receive step-by-step video guides showing you in detail how to build your own Liberty Generator from the ground up. It's like having a master craftsman in the room with you. Just watch what I do, copy me, and your generator is practically built for you. You'll get a comprehensive materials list covering exactly what you need and where you can get it. Remember, the vast majority of assembly pieces are either already in your yard or garage or sitting on the shelves of your town's hardware stores this very moment. Your total cost for construction is less than $197 and may well be under $30. You'll find out where you should build your Liberty Generator and how one microscopic adjustment can double the amount of energy it produces. I'll provide a copy of my blueprints too. Print out these illustrated instructions and keep them nearby while you're building. Because you and I both know that the next catastrophe, whether it's natural, man-made, or as severe as the collapse of the U.S. government, is looming above us right now, and it could be days away. If you don't already have your Liberty Generator built when it happens or have to leave your home, these blueprints will be worth their weight in gold. Literally anyone can build this. When I was making your blueprint, your materials lists, and your start-to-finish video guides, I pictured it was for my 5-year-old boy. That man had to be so simple, so painless, that even he could build this generator in a matter of hours. And you will keep your home not only powered, but protected. When the grid slows to a grind and the gas pipes stop working and the pumps go dry, you will have enough power not only to survive, but thrive. Imagine what it'll be like to have the heater set to 77 degrees on a cold winter day, to have the chicken cutlet baking in the oven, to run warm bath water for your daughter as she gets ready to go to bed. Even as others in your neighborhood are bundled together, wearing layer upon layer of clothing, seeing their breath in the frigid air as they try to sleep. If a major natural disaster or societal collapse does happen, you will be in an overwhelmingly powerful position. You'll be operating vehicles, even when no one has access to gasoline for weeks. You will be able to barter cooked food, gas, even access to electricity. You will be in complete control, not just of your home, but of all those who surround you. And you'll do it all without spending thousands of dollars for solar or becoming a victim to the DIY solar panel frauds or depending on gasoline. My word is as strong as oak. All you have to do is follow the Liberty Generator video instructions and your step-by-step guide, and no matter what your age, physical conditions, ability, or know-how, you will be able to create your own evergreen energy source, completely relieving you from dependence on the grid with enough power to actually have the big electricity cartels paying you. So, how do you get started with your own Liberty Generator? At this point, you likely realize how game-changing the Liberty Generator is, and you probably also want to know how much you have to invest to get the step-by-step video guide and blueprints which allow you to build it yourself. I can tell you right now that nothing else like this exists in the world. There are other biogas generators, to be sure, but I have completely reinvented it, drastically reducing the size so those in urban environments can build one, making it 1,000% more dependable than any other generator in existence, and designing it to be made simply from a handful of parts that cost under $300. There are other alternatives, of course, but you already know they aren't real solutions. You could pay $5,000 to hire an installation company to come put giant, ugly, attention-grabbing solar panels on your roof. It'll take them several weeks to do that at over $60 an hour per person in added labor, making your true costs closer to $10,000 or more. Or you can invest in a DIY solar kit. The inexpensive ones will still run you around $600, and they never work as advertised. You may be able to power a Christmas tree, but that's about it. Or you could rely on a gasoline-powered generator, but to run your air conditioner or heat, your water heater, your electricity, your stove, and appliances, you're looking at somewhere around 10 gallons per day. So even if you somehow have a 20-gallon drum of gasoline sitting around your home, which is extremely dangerous, by the way, you'd still only have power for 2 days. So take a moment to think about the conversation we're having right now. Ultimately, your biggest concern isn't money. It's about keeping your family warm, fed, and protected. It's about being certain of their survival and of meeting their every need, whether it's during a simple blackout or a prolonged crisis in which our country's entire infrastructure suddenly dissolves into dust. This is about freedom. It's about fighting back against the power monopolies right now, of no longer adding to their $123 billion in revenue, of no longer getting pushed face to face into the mud as their top executives line their pockets with $30 million bonuses. It's about turning the tables. It's becoming entirely self-reliant, not dependent on the government or the corporations, desperate to turn your family into a bunch of little numbers found at the bottom of a profit and loss sheet. It's about having them pay you. It's about taking the step today that protects your family from that corporate greed for decades or even centuries to come, even as the price of gasoline and electricity continues to explode. You don't want to be sitting in front of your computer 10 years from now and suddenly remember this video. You don't want to have that moment where you realize that you could have been free from your grid dependence instead of struggling mightily to pay your $350, $750, or $1,050 power bill every month. The normal retail price for the Liberty Generator is $99.97, and both my family and every single one of the 78,415 people who have already tried it tell me that I'm insane for pricing it so low. I mean, think about it. Assuming your monthly bill is a modest $150 per month. Over the last decade, you have given the energy companies $18,000. If you live in a larger home and your cost is $350 per month, it's a staggering $42,000. The very first month I built and used my Liberty Generator, my power bill dropped from $2,413.16 a month to $822.92. Within 3 months, I was getting a check from the electric company for $108.93. And I live on a huge 29-acre property. Imagine how much you'll save if you live in an 1,800-square-foot home. Even if I'm off, which over 78,000 people have made it clear that I'm not, what if you only cut your bill by 20%? If your monthly power bill is a low $150, you'd still save $360 in the next year. $3,600 in the coming decade, enough to pay for a semester of college for one of your children or grandchildren at most state schools. And given that energy prices are rising, it's more likely that savings is much closer to $7,000. And these estimates don't even cover what Liberty Generator will be worth if the stuff hits the fan. When your home is heated during the winters or cooled to 68 degrees during the hot summers, when you have cooked hot meals, warm water for bathing, and when you have gas to power vehicles and be able to drive when all of those around you are walking the roads like zombies. $99.97 should seem like the deal of a century. But after a lifetime of battling the power company demons and being viciously attacked by big companies like Monsanto, and finally breaking free from it all, having thousands of extra dollars every month in saved money, and being able to give my wife and children the clothing, food, and toys they deserve, I honestly believe I have a moral duty to put a Liberty Generator in every American's home. 4 months ago, when I put out a 3-day coupon for the Liberty Generator, taking $20 off and selling it for $77.97, so many people hit buy that it literally crashed this website. Now, I've learned my lesson from that one and upgraded my web hosting dramatically, but I'm still nervous. You've stuck with me this far, and I see how serious you are about taking this vital step towards not only saving 80% or more off your power bill every month, but also ensuring the safety and comfort of your family, no matter what happens in the future, even if there is an economic collapse or the grid goes dark. So, for a limited time only, you can get the Liberty Generator, and saving tens of thousands of dollars off your power bill over the coming years, actually getting paid by those evil electricity pushers for the power you generate and preserving the safety of your family for just $49.97. But you have to act right now. And because I really want you to know how deeply and sincerely I am fighting for you, if you invest in the Liberty Generator right now, and only during this special reduced price window, you'll also receive unrestricted support for life. Over 78,000 people have already proven how simple building your own completely self-sustaining 100% natural generator really is. But I do realize that there are always going to be people who have questions, or who want to discuss the best building location, or ask about tips for increasing energy output even more. Which is why, if you act today, I will give you my personal email address, along with 24/7 access to an entire support team, honest Americans I've hired for the sole purpose of helping you. If there is ever a moment where you're unsure of something or you have a question, simply shoot my team an email and we will immediately work with you to get it answered. You'll never feel stuck or like you're unsure what to do, or be left wondering if the modification you've decided to make is safe or not. All it takes is to have the step-by-step video guides, your full-color building blueprint and instructions, your materials list cheat sheet, and lifetime support. All it takes to have the step-by-step video guides, your full-color building blueprints and instructions, your materials list cheat sheet, and lifetime support is click that big Add to Cart button directly below this video. No doubt by now, you can feel the sense of excitement that's creeping from your bones, realizing that there is finally a real alternative to paying the power companies a 1,125% markup on each kilowatt of energy you use, of having a grid-proof power source that can preserve your family's comfort and way of life, even if there is terrible anarchy in the streets outside. You'll even be helping the environment. You'll be going green by generating all your power from grass, leaves, bark, food leftovers, and even the waste from your pets. All that's standing between you and total energy independence is that big Add to Cart button right below. Break through the wall by clicking on it now and take what you deserve. What's your God-given right? Simply enter your credit card information in our secure payment processing form, which you'll find on the next page. Then you'll get the videos, blueprints, everything as an immediate download. There are only 3 button clicks standing between you and energy freedom. I'll guarantee this changes your life forever. I realize that our economy is reeling from Wall Street's greed, and that we're all pinching pennies. I know that while investing $49.97 to save thousands is obviously a winning proposition, every purchase you make needs to be weighed carefully, which is why I've decided to put my money where my mouth is by offering you a 100% satisfaction guarantee. If you don't save money on your power bill or are unsatisfied for any reason at all, you don't pay a dime. This is how it works. Just click on the Add to Cart button below. You'll be following in the footsteps of the 78,415 other Americans who have already made the decision to power their home with the weeds in their yard instead of with price-gouged corporate energy. Download your package, watch the video guides, print out your step-by-step instructions, go spend 30 minutes gathering up the materials. If at any point during the next 60 days you are unhappy, if for some reason you don't save drastically on your next power bill, or even if you only save 17% and wanted to save more, simply send me an email and I'll refund your purchase immediately. No questions asked and no hassles given. Look, growing up in a small rural community, I learned early on that a man's word was only as good as his actions. I know with utter conviction that the only reason I deserve your hard-earned money is if I have given you a product of total, overwhelmingly high value. And yes, I do feel pretty cocky with this guarantee, too. I've seen firsthand the tens of thousands of people who are now getting checks for anywhere from $20 to $290 paid directly to them every single month by the same companies that used to bleed them dry. Plus, I've heard countless stories from those I've helped, all telling me how easy it is to build the Liberty Generator, how it only takes between 2 to 4 hours to make, how it costs less than $300 to build, how most of the parts can be found in the garage, how a few falling leaves in October can be enough to run energy through your home for an entire month. All you have to do to get started is to push the big shiny Add to Cart button below right now. Then you click Submit on the next page and download on the page after that. That's it. Then it's yours. The key to unlocking an unending supply of gas, electricity, propane, and solar-independent energy for life. But you really must act now. Last time I discounted the price on Liberty Generator, it crashed my entire website. I'm not making the same mistake twice. I've already set it so that after a small handful of people receive the special discount, about 50% off the normal selling price, the offer goes back up to $97.99. Ultimately, though, the decision is yours. There are really only 3 choices you can make. The first is not to take action. This video is about to end, and you'll be left staring at the computer screen. You could just leave after and try hard to forget about what you saw when your next power bill for $175 comes in the mail. Or if, God forbid, there's a terrible disaster and power is cut off for days or weeks or months, you'll still have to yell at your kids to keep the lights down and tell your wife that money is too tight to go out to dinner. And you can feel the guilt of knowing you're not truly doing everything in your power to provide for your family. The second is to try to build your own biogas generator. It can be done, but there are huge problems. There are very few step-by-step guides online. Those that exist are highly technical and assume that you have at least 60 feet of space with which to build yours. They also often require you to spend thousands of dollars just to learn them. And if you were going to do that, why wouldn't you just invest the $49.97 instead? Which brings you to your third choice. Get Liberty Generator today at absolutely zero risk to you. Join the ranks of over 40,000 American families, over 72,000 people in total, and by tomorrow you could be generating massive amounts of power, easily convertible to electricity, with just the scraps you didn't eat for dinner. You'll be one of a select group of people who will ever get Liberty Generator for such a low price, and you'll be covered for a full 2 months by my 100% no questions asked money-back guarantee. You'll have lifetime access to 24/7 support, so you'll never feel frustrated if you have a question and need an answer. All you have to do is click the Add to Cart button below this letter and make a decision that is literally no downside and an upside of not just $18,000 or more in savings over the coming years, but also total grid-free energy for life. This video is ending in 30 seconds, and the choice is yours. What you have seen today is about more than just saving money or forcing the power company to pay you. Those parts are important, but there's more to it than that. It's about providing for those you love, of reclaiming what's yours as an American, the unalienable right of freedom. It's about not being a slave or being controlled and manipulated by profit-hungry monopolies, and being able to hedge against both the rapidly rising cost of energy and the rapidly declining stability of the U.S. society. This is your chance to be your own man, a leader who protects, defends, and keeps safe all the ones he cares for. Take action now. This is your very last chance. Click the Add to Cart button right this moment and join the swelling ranks of U.S. patriots who've had enough of big government, big energy, and the lies they tell to keep both us and our money in their pockets. I look forward to hearing from you after you've built your very own Liberty generator. Don't forget that after you've made the investment, you'll have access to my personal email address and that of the entire team. If you have any questions or just want to share your own success story, please feel free to reach out to me right away. Thank you for watching this video. This has been Abe Thomas. You still there? I know that sometimes it can be scary to take that first step, even though you'd love to be slashing your electricity bill by 80% or more in 1 month. You still have questions. To help you feel fully confident in your Liberty generator investment, let me take a minute or two here to address the answer to some of the most common questions people ask. 1. How much will I save? The exact amount you save will depend on several factors, including how large your generator is, the size of your home, and the amount of electricity you normally run in your home. Our average customer saves about $174 per month on their bill, though others with larger houses have saved significantly more. 2. How much energy will my Liberty generator produce? Just like above, the amount of energy produced will depend on a few factors, namely the size of your generator and how often you fuel it. It is more than possible to produce 5,000 plus watts of electricity per day. 3. How do I fuel my Liberty generator? The coolest part about your new generator is that there are dozens of ways to power it. You can add bags of grass, tree bark, falling leaves, leftover dinner scraps, a piece of cactus, even your pet's waste. Through the anaerobic process, all of these different sources are naturally broken down and turned into energy. 4. What's maintenance like? There's very little maintenance. You simply add fuel once or twice a day and then remove the energy's byproduct. This byproduct is still organic and safe and makes great fertilizer for your yard. 5. Will it work in the city? Yes, as long as you have a backyard. Even if it's just a few feet wide, you can generate plenty of power from the Liberty generator. 6. Is it hard to build? Not at all. When I was designing this, I made it so simple that my young son could build it on his own. There's very little physical labor, so even the elderly or those with a bad back or other ailments should have no problem making it. The average build time is about 3.5 hours. 7. What's included again? Inside, you'll get my comprehensive step-by-step video guide showing you exactly how to build your own Liberty generator. I made these videos with an over-the-shoulder approach, so it's basically like I'm here in the room building it with you. You'll also get the machine blueprints, full-color step-by-step directions, and the full materials list. Plus, your purchase today comes with unlimited lifetime support. You can email my team or me anytime you have a question, and we'll promptly respond to you. 8. How do I order? Simply click on the Add to Cart button you see below. You'll then be taken to our 100% secure checkout page, where you'll enter your payment information. After you've completed your order, you'll have access to my special members-only area, where you can instantly stream or download the video guides, along with the blueprints, instructions, and materials list. You'll also get access to all my contact information from this page as well. 9. Is there a guarantee? Yes. Once you place your order, you'll have a full 60 days to pour through the videos, blueprints, and instructions, and to build your Liberty generator for yourself. If at any point you are unsatisfied or change your mind about this, simply send an email and I will immediately refund your entire purchase, no questions asked.